Wife, 38F, has cheated on me, 41M. Is it even possible to move past this? I found out yesterday that my 41M wife, 38F, of nearly 16 years has cheated on me with a married colleague from work. I think I'm still in shock as it doesn't seem to quite have set in that my marriage is likely over. Apparently it happened gradually as she says she was seduced by his flattery. I know for a fact that they visited a hotel for S*X last year when she said she was meeting a friend, female. She says that she felt that I didn't want her anymore and that it felt like I was her roommate. I won't deny that our S*X life had slowed down significantly, but truthfully I was waiting for her to initiate S*X after having been shot down so much in the months leading up to it. She advised that she just didn't feel S*XY, but I tried to reassure her that I thought she was. Other physical intimacy such as cuddling, kissing, and loving affirmations were still happening throughout. After Christmas, I noticed that she seemed a little distant and was spending a lot more time on her phone. At this point, I talked to her about what the problem was. She stated that she thought I didn't want to be with her anymore. I reassured her that this wasn't the case and that I loved her. It's important to note that she has had struggles with her mental health. She has been on antidepressants for a couple of years now. We had also always agreed to be child-free, and she was happy for me to have a vasectomy, but after talking to her at Christmas, she stated that her feelings had changed and her biological clock was ticking. I suggested the possibility of counseling, as this was a red line for me. I do not want kids, ever, and I didn't want her to resent me for it in years to come. She initially agreed to this, but never followed up on it. Fast forward to this month, and although she had seemed happier, I still had a nagging suspicion that something wasn't right as she was always on her phone, taking it everywhere. I'm not proud of myself, but I went on her phone when she was asleep. Although she had deleted all of the messages from him, some messages from one of her friends who works at the same company seemed to indicate that something had been going on. The word soulmate was mentioned, which honestly felt like my heart had been ripped in two. I confronted her with this, but she denied anything physical, saying he was just a very good friend that she had grown very close to. She advised that her mental health issues had gotten worse over the last year, with heavy suicidal ideation, but she was scared to bring it up as she didn't want to get sectioned. The work colleague was apparently something of a kindred spirit she could talk to about it, as she was terrified that I would leave her or have her sectioned, that she felt that this man was her soulmate from that point of view. I explained that this was an emotional affair at the very least. She denied that it was, and that there was nothing physical going on, that she had cut off contact with him anyway due to him being, quote, stalker-y. Since I'm posting here, it won't surprise you to know that I've since found deleted emails regarding a meeting at a hotel prior to Christmas, as well as references to S*Zool acts and pictures sent, deleted, but they're mentioned. I confronted her again yesterday morning, and she confirmed that it had been physical on 5 occasions over 2 meetings. I've since left the house to try and get my mind in order, but she's had a mental breakdown since. I made sure she contacted the doctor and arranged to get some help for her, including counseling before I left as I was truly worried she might hurt herself. I've since received a lot of messages advising how it was a mistake that she made in her darkest time and that she loves me, but I'm not sure if I can ever look at her in the same way again. I love her, but I have no idea what on earth to do. Apologies for the wall of text, but I just needed to vent and ask whether it's even possible to save this marriage if indeed I want to. And now to another story, story 2. Why do they continue to lie and deny everything, even though it's over anyway? Hi all, apologies in advance for the very long post. This is my first one via the PC rather than the phone, so hopefully the grammar, spelling, and readability are better than my usual comments. My wife is having an affair with a male work colleague, minimum emotional, highly likely to be physical, but continues to deny it. I'm trying to write this in paragraphs, but it's really difficult, so I'll go with bullets. 21st/December 23rd. Something happened as her mood was significantly off with me, and on a later audio recording from my house, I hear them talking about these specific dates and saying, "You said something like, 'You get in there.' So I did." December 29th. We got intimate, normally a dead bedroom, but we did things 4 times from this date and through January. And then later that day, she searched on Google Maps at his area, some distance from ours, and Google was super specific about the viewing location. We know no one else around there, and I had no idea he lived there until early April. Between March 9th and April 2nd, she visited his house a minimum of 4 times, all time stamped and location pinpointed on Google Maps, when she said she'd been at her female friends. These were to varying times, including 2 past midnight. Start of April, I found messages saying, "Love you. I miss you. Looking forward to seeing you Sunday." Context: she'd only seen him less than 48 hours before the "I miss you" bit, and there were no other messages above these, so they'd been actively deleting them to hide their conversations. Confronted her with it all and was told, "We're just friends. He's my someone to talk to whilst we've been struggling. I don't love him. I'm not having an affair." But she made no attempt to apologize or reconcile with me. I sent her a screenshot of their messages later that day and said, "No, I love you." Her reply: "Have you got screenshots of all of the messages?" After this, I still said, "I won't stop you talking to him, but please don't hide it." Because I'm not controlling and I needed time to process everything. Guess what she did? Called him every time I was out of the house, finished calls with "love you," changed appointments that I was aware of so that she had more time after to see him, talked about how he didn't question anything when I got in, after seeing him whilst going out to buy our daughter's last few birthday presents. I haven't included all details as I collated a lot. New perfume, thongs, ankle bracelet, which I think might be from him. Always home late from work despite working a literal 3-minute drive / 10-minute walk away. The list goes on. But guess what? She still denies it and instead deflects it back on me for a conversation I had via Facebook in June 2023 with a girl from my gym, who I saw but didn't talk to other than a nod and "You okay?" with headphones on, 3 times a week at the 5 a.m. slot along with a load of other regulars. I was transparent with my wife about the conversation at the time. I congratulated her on a significant weight loss transformation that she put on her stories, and we chatted briefly about the gym and workout history. I saw my wife get angry when I mentioned I was trying to find a pic of my old gym to send her, so I blocked her, and this is where I did make a mistake. Deleted the chat when it prompted me asking if I wished to delete it. I was so apologetic back in January when she told me this had upset her. Yes, that's correct, 7 months after the messages, and changed her. I've been over backwards to find the messages / recover them and prove it was platonic. I respected her wishes of not contacting the girl and asking for screenshots of the messages. I realize now that this is not the cause and is deflection, but I want you to all understand the where I went wrong too. Yet when confronted, she still denies it and gets very angry at me. Neither of us are interested in reconciliation. I love this woman with all of my heart, but this behavior is of someone else, and I will not be treated like this. The only thing close to truth that I have had so far is that when I challenged her on the basis that it was definitely an emotional affair, even if she says it didn't get physical, which I don't believe at all, she literally didn't respond. I think that's the closest I'll get to an admission of guilt. I also challenged her on whether they're romantic now, and she said, "What does that mean?" And when pushed further for, "Are you more than friends?" she refused to answer as "You ended the relationship." I told her a week after finding the messages that I don't see how we can go on as I won't trust her, and she'd made zero attempt at apologizing or reconciling. She's shown zero empathy, remorse, or concern towards me. She's been angry and cold, but will then be sweet, and she even flirted on Saturday. Mind bend. We have a house and 2 kids together, so the separation will take some time, and we have to be amicable under the same roof. Useful info for context. She's known the work colleague since about 2013/2014. We met in 2012. She continued to talk to him via Messenger at all hours, including lying next to bed with me, but at this point not hiding it. Even when she didn't work there anymore between 2015 to 2022. She went back to work at the same place in 2022. I always felt slightly uneasy but was a trusting husband giving her autonomy, and I guess that's also why I didn't think me messaging the girl at the gym was a big deal. In hindsight, that's probably precisely why it was a big deal, because she knew how she felt about him, or maybe even what they had been doing together already. Now next story, story 3. Would you stay, or is this not salvageable? I wanted to post here for feedback. I've posted before on other subs, but I wanted to see what people's perspectives on this sub are. I have been with my partner for 15 years, and we have 2 children together. We were each other's first everything. Our relationship has been very volatile at times, and more than our share of ups and downs. I think we became attached and fell in love too quickly in the beginning, but over the years we've probably fallen out of love, and if we're being honest, our children are our main reason we're trying to stay together. We've recently been trying to work on our relationship more, and it's helped a bit. So 2 months ago, I contacted a female my partner worked with 14 years ago while he was a manager at a retail store. I had always been uneasy about their working relationship, but pushed my intuition aside for many years. She messaged me back and was very candid and open that they had been sleeping together nearly the entire year they worked together. She did not know he had a girlfriend, me, at that time. She said they would have S*X every few weeks, either in the office after closing alone together, in the car after work, or at her place. For a year. She said he told her he didn't have texting on his phone. He lied. So they only arranged things at work or over the phone. They never went on dates or anything but flirted and made out at work frequently and hooked up every few weeks. She figures they had S*X a minimum of a dozen times from February until November/December when he quit suddenly and essentially ghosted her. I confronted my partner about this and he at first denied it, saying she was crazy and making it up, that she was bitter, etc. I called him on this obvious BS, and eventually he admitted he vaguely remembers sleeping with her 4 times during that year, but says the only times he actually remembers were during a time we had been broken up for 3 months later that year. She says it was the entire year. He also denies remembering pursuing her at work when he first started there, as she said he did. He doesn't remember giving her his number in the beginning either. He doesn't remember ever having S*X with her in the car or at work, or making out with her at work. She says it was pretty frequent making out, and they definitely had S*X in those places, but he only remembers it happening at her place. He essentially doesn't remember any kind of cheating on me, but says his gut tells him he did. He described the times he remembers sleeping with her as not good S*X, that he wasn't really interested in her, wasn't really attracted to her, was just using her for the ego boost of feeling desired. Yet she describes the S*X very differently, that he was definitely enjoying himself, that they would cuddle afterwards, and he was affectionate to her. Not to mention the excitement factor from S*X in the office or car. His account and her account couldn't be more different, but I absolutely believe her because she was very apologetic and didn't initially want to give me the details. She never knew she was the other woman. She was hurt when he quit suddenly and ghosted her. My partner came clean about another incident 11 years ago when I was pregnant with our second baby. He had gone out to a bar with coworkers and got drunk and went back to one woman's place where she gave him oral before he lost his erection and she drove him back. However, I contacted her after his confession and she said that he gave her oral as well, but there was in fact no penetration, but he did sleep over. He swears up and down he can't remember the cheating from 14 years ago, that it's all hazy. He's been a chronic weed smoker and steroid user since I met him, if that has anything to do with it. I find it impossible to believe he doesn't remember actually cheating on me. It's convenient he only remembers the S*X that happened while we were broken up. Is this something I should be able to move on from? Given the fact we've been together for so long and he hasn't done anything shady that I know of. in the last 10 years, and we have children together and just bought a house. My heart is broken into a million pieces, and I'm utterly destroyed, but I don't want to break up my kids' lives if there's any other way. I'm upset that he was never going to tell me any of this. Always denied any time I brought up feeling uneasy or suspicious. My intuition always told me there was something there. He's always had an excessive porn habit and used to have a habit of checking out other women in front of me, sometimes to get back at me for thinking I did the same thing. I've never been that type, never cheated or looked at other men, or even telling me how many attractive women he worked with who would line up to be with him. Throughout our relationship, he used to constantly accuse me of cheating on him. Now I understand it was projection, and I think I knew it even then but was too cowardly to face it. Sorry this is so long. Do you think time has changed him? He cheated when he was 23 years old, and then again later the ONS when he was 26. I don't ever want to go through this again. I don't know if I believe he won't cheat again, and I don't 100% believe he doesn't remember the first time he cheated on me. And if he does remember, but just doesn't want to admit it, then that means he's dodging accountability. And now to the last story, story 4. Haven't fully moved on? Is this normal? Experienced advice needed. This is a bit of an unusual post, but I've become a frequent visitor of this sub lately, and who knows, posting this may actually make me feel better. I won't delve into too many details since the situation is not only long but also depressingly mundane. As such, I wouldn't even know where to begin. So allow me to highlight the essential points. My WP of 6 years decided to end our relationship after months of me suspecting infidelity, despite my having minimal evidence. Some of these inklings came from discrepancies like her not being where she claimed to be, her overprotective of her phone, and our gradually stagnating romantic life. During the separation stages of our shared living arrangements, further evidence emerged indicating she was likely having an affair with one of my closest friends. This revelation sparked a half-year period of mayhem with them, insisting nothing inappropriate was happening while attempting to salvage their reputations within our collective friend group. Allegations flew, sides were taken, alliances formed, with some labeling me paranoid and insane and others standing by me after examining the evidence and severing ties with my ex-partner and former friend. Eventually, they confessed their relationship to someone they presumed was a loyalist, claiming it began only after our breakup but pretty immediately after. The said friend was incredibly remorseful that he believed them, and considering the evidence I had already shown him, coupled with their admission they were together after months of denial, it was apparent they'd been unfaithfully involved months prior. Although the truth will likely never fully come out, the speculations and never fully knowing still hurts me. Regardless, things gradually improved. Our friend group cut them out. They moved in together a little way away and stopped visiting our favorite bars and restaurants. The situation improved gradually, despite the occasional gloomy days. Now, 7 years since the incident, which is longer than our relationship lasted, I've moved on. I've had 2 serious relationships since. A medium-term relationship that ended, but currently, I'm in a long-term relationship, incredible relationship with a woman I adore and envisage as my wife. Despite the positive turn of events, I still find myself occasionally dwelt in gloom. Is this normal? The essence of the predicament lies in the expectation that I can never fully move on because I will never know the details of the betrayal fully, as it was never wholly confessed or confronted. Through knowledge obtained via mutual friends on social media, that they're still together, have started a family, and appear blissfully happy. I think the aspect that upsets me the most, after a lot of introspection, is that they are still happily together. Does karma not work in real life? Is it unjust to believe they put me through so much yet found their own happily ever after? If I knew they had parted ways or were unhappy, I think it'd have been easier to overcome. How can they wrong someone and not face any consequences? Their happiness seems undeserved. Lots of traumatic details have been left out, including in one last-ditch attempt not to look bad to the friendship group. My former friend told people that it was fine what he did as I was abusive towards my WP anyway. Luckily, when people asked for details about this directly from WP, she wasn't even disgusting to continue this lie. Thoughts would be appreciated.